This is your weekly report on corruption in the Philippine government. The Land Transportation Office said on Thursday that 56 of its officials and employees are currently facing administrative charges following a widespread internal cleansing operation within the agency. Among the administrative cases filed against the 56 personnel include grave misconduct, serious dishonesty, gross neglect of duty, extortion and falsification of official documents, among others, the LTO said in a statement. The cases were filed after the agency conducted a widespread cleansing operation which resulted in several employees being placed under preventive suspension and eventually removed from their position. It added, some, on the other, have been endorsed to disciplinary bodies such as the Central Office Disciplinary Board, Regional Administrative Action Board and the Department of Transportation. Among those facing administrative cases are a presidential appointee and 34 permanent employees. They were assigned to different LTO offices, including the Central Office in Quezon City, National Capital Region, Cagayan Valley, Mimaropa, Central Visayas, Cordillera Administrative Region and Caraga. The LTO said that 16 job order personnel were also removed from service, while 2 local government unit auxiliary enforcers and a security guard had their deputation authority revoked. 2 more employees, one from the LTO office in NCR and another from Soxxxagon, received a stern warning for their administrative lapses, it added. The LTO, meanwhile, said that it will continue to investigate erring employees as it called on the public to report cases of extortion, fixer transactions or other violations. The Philippine National Police dismissed from the service 7 officers linked to the missing money worth several millions seized from a raided alleged Philippine offshore gaming operator. The dismissal was stipulated in Special Order No. NHQ-SODS 2026-4478 and General Order No. NHQ-GODS 2026-2576. Both were effective the 12th of May and dated the 13th of May. The General Order dismissed a police lieutenant colonel, while the Special Order dismissed a police executive master sergeant, a senior master sergeant and 4 patrolmen. In the 20th of October 24, the Criminal Investigation and Detection Group raided an alleged pogo in Bagok, Bataan and confiscated 141.13 million pesos in cash as evidence. The implicated police lieutenant colonel took custody of the cash evidence in June 2025. However, when he was reassigned on the 20th of August 25, the police lieutenant colonel allegedly did not turn over the cash evidence to the CIDG. He only turned over the boxes to the CIDG in the 20th of October 25. It was only when the boxes were unsealed by a court order in November 2025 that the police discovered 13.451 million pesos of the money had been supposedly replaced with fake bills. The missing money was then traced by investigators to the 6 other implicated police officers. The PNP has yet to detail whether the missing money had been returned. An employee of the Isabela City government was shot dead while her husband was wounded by motorcycle-riding gunmen in Isabela City, Basilan on Thursday, the 14th of May. Police identified the victim as Karen Resurrection, 48. Investigation said Karen and husband Nelson were on their way home on board a motorcycle when the suspects shot them in a remote area of Barangay Lanote. The suspects escaped and the victims were taken to a hospital where Karen was declared dead from bullet wounds. Nelson was transferred to a private hospital here. Recovered in the area was 9mm slug. The Isabela City government mourned the death of Karen, administrative assistant 4 of the city accounting office. Karen, who worked for the city government for 19 years, will be remembered for her kindness, dedication, and sincere commitment to her work and the people she served, it said in a statement. The city government calls on concerned authorities to ensure the swift resolution of her tragic passing and to bring justice not only in this case, but also in all other acts of violence happening in Isabela City. May truth and accountability prevail for the safety and peace of the community. Karen was the 2nd family member killed in a gun attack within 1 week. On Sunday, the 10th of May, 60-year-old Gilberto Toledo was gunned down by unidentified suspects while driving a motorcycle in Barangay Lanote, Isabela City. The victims appealed for justice and police are conducting follow-up and manhunt operations. Anti-narcotic authorities arrested a police officer from Basilan province and seized illegal drugs worth 13.6 million pesos on Saturday. The arrested police was identified as alias Abdul, 45, a police staff sergeant and a resident of Tipo Tipo, Basilan. The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency's Zamboanga City office said Abdul was arrested in a buy-bust operation around 5:45 p.m. in Sitio Bagandalan, Barangay Santa Maria, this city. The suspect was arrested after he transacted illegal drugs with an undercover PDEA agent. Seized from the suspect were 2 vacuum-sealed bags containing suspected shabu weighing 2,000 grams. The PDEA ZCO report read, the standard value of the confiscated suspected shabu is 13.6 million pesos. Also seized from the suspect were a Glock 17 pistol with 42 rounds of ammunition, a motorcycle, a police identification card and 16 bundles of boodle money. The suspect has been detained and will face charges under the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002. The anti-drug operation was launched by PDEA operatives from Isabela City, Basilan with the support of different police units. Saturday's drug haul is the second largest seizure of illegal drugs authorities have made in this city this week. On the 13th of May, police authorities arrested 3 suspects and seized some 34 million pesos worth of shabu in a buy-bust operation in Barangay Zone 4 here. 2 enforcers of the Land Transportation Office were suspended after they were seen refueling an impounded Mitsubishi Adventure MPV in photos that went viral on social media. In a statement on Monday, LTO Chief Assistant Secretary Marcus Lacanileo said the 2 enforcers were inside an undisclosed impound lot of the LTO when the incident happened. There is no space at the LTO for any irregularities, abuse, or the use of government resources for personal reasons, Lacanileo said. The LTO has issued a show cause order to both enforcers asking them to appear before the LTO Intelligence and Investigation Division at the LTO Central Office. Both enforcers are part of the LTO Law Enforcement Service. We ordered immediate action to ensure that all allegations are investigated fairly and in accordance with the law, he said. While the photos of the 2 enforcers did not immediately indicate what they were doing, he said siphoning gasoline or any actions that indicate the use of government resources for personal reasons could be considered a violation of Republic Act 3019, or the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. In addition, both enforcers will be investigated for possible administrative violations under civil service rules. He called on LTO personnel to have integrity, discipline, and responsibility and reiterated his ongoing crackdown against corruption in the agency. He also called on the public to continue reporting any suspicious incidents, especially of government corruption, to the LTO. 2 officials of the Department of Public Works and Highways in the Cordillera region were relieved from their posts by DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon following the death of a 13-year-old cyclist in La Trinidad, Benguet. Relieved were Benguet 1st District Engineering Office District Engineer Isagani Came and Maintenance Section Engineer 3 Marjorie Banao. Their removal came after the cyclist fell into a ravine along the collapsed and unrepaired portion of the Lamat Bekel section of the Benguet Nueva Vizcaya Road in Barangay Bekel, La Trinidad, last week. The road section had collapsed in November 2025 during Typhoon Yuan but had yet to be fully repaired. Following the incident, relatives of the victim, residents, and motorists raised concerns over the condition of the road and called for accountability, describing the tragedy as preventable. In a social media post, the DPWH said the officials were removed due to the lack of adequate road safety signatures and traffic control devices, including concrete barriers, along the damaged portion of the road where the victim fell. Dizon also warned DPWH contractors that failure to comply with strict safety requirements during construction could result in contract termination, blacklisting, and possible criminal charges. A police sergeant was arrested for an alleged lascivious act against a 14-year-old girl in Malabon City, the police said on Wednesday. The alleged incident took place along Salmon Street in Barangay Longos on Tuesday night, according to Malabon Police Chief Colonel Alan Umapig in a press briefing in Camp Crame. The police officer was drunk and touched the young girl's private parts from behind, Umapig said, speaking in Filipino. He explained that, after the incident, the victim had returned home and reported it to her brother. The victim and her brother then went back to the police officer's home to confront him. Because of that, the suspect got angry and said some bad words at the victim's brother. They noticed the suspect was grabbing something from his sling bag, so they were terrified and ran home, Umapig detailed. The suspect followed them home and even got inside, but the victim kicked the door to push the suspect out, he added. He identified the implicated police officer as a police senior master sergeant assigned to the Manila Police District Anti-Cybercrime Unit. UMAPIG did not immediately explain why the victim was near the police officer's home but noted that their houses were far apart. The Malabon police chief noted that they confiscated a blue sling bag containing a 9mm pistol with 2 magazines each loaded with 10 rounds of live ammunition from the suspect. The suspect was taken into the Malabon police's custody, awaiting charges for acts of lasciviousness, grave threats, alarms and scandal, and violation of domicile. He also awaits charges for violating Republic Act No. 7610 or the Special Protection of Children Against Abuse, Exploitation and Discrimination Act, and RA No. 10591 or the Firearms and Ammunition Regulation Act, UMAPIG added. A police corporal was taken into custody for allegedly punching his partner's alleged lover in Mandaluyong City, the police said on Wednesday. The implicated cop surrendered to his station commander and was brought to the city police after crossing paths with his foe along Correctional Road in Barangay Addition Hills on Tuesday night. Mandaluyong Police Chief Colonel Rhiannon Patum said in a briefing in Camp Crame. The suspect saw the victim there and yelled, "So, you're here." He punched him. The victim ran toward his house, but the suspect followed him. When the suspect caught up with the victim, he punched him again, but they were stopped, Patum explained. Speaking in Filipino, the suspect left, but he returned later on and went to the victim's house. But when the victim didn't go out, the suspect left again, the Mandaluyong police chief noted. The victim allegedly had relations with the police officer's partner, he added. He also noted that the two parties purportedly had a similar confrontation in 2023. Patum only identified the suspect as a police corporal assigned to the Quezon City Police District Station 15 Tactical Motorcycle Riding Unit, and the victim by his alias. Mark. The Mandaluyong police chief made no mention as to the implicated police corporal's current disposition, but he noted that the latter was awaiting cases for physical injury and grave threat. That's all for this week. I'll see you next Friday with more stories of corruption and foolishness within the Philippine government.